Hey. Once again, it's your boy, Phys Ed Music. I'm in the building. Urban politics. Let's get right into it like a car and drive. Been a lot going on, a lot of things that happen. So much horrific stuff, but there's been some good stuff too. We're going to talk about it all right now. I ain't going to take too much of your time. Go ahead and get into it. We're going to go through it real fast. You can always check out this episode or any other episode that I've done. I always post them to YouTube. I want to thank people for the support. Definitely share the videos and stuff if you like them, if you enjoy them or whatever. Share them. I ain't taken enough to have the information at the bottom of the screen and all that, but I want you to feel me just like some of them people. You know what I'm saying? If you're digging this, please share the show. That's how your boy can get bigger, if I get the love and support from other people. If you enjoyed it, I bet you got 10 or 12 friends who enjoy it too. So ship it out to them and let them check it out. But today, let's go ahead. First thing first, this is urban politics, but we have to talk about the elephant in the room that's always in the room. We're going to talk about race in America in the beginning, but then I'll get into the politics. Because like I said, this urban politics. I always like to talk about the politics, and there's a lot of politics when it comes to race in America. So let's go ahead and get right into that. Starting off with the untimely death of Mr. George Floyd. That was horrible. There was a cop had his knee in the man's throat. You've all seen the videos. We've all seen the outrage. We'll get to that a little later. It was crazy, man. He was the cop who had his knee in George's neck was charged with third-degree murder and manslaughter. So there's that. His house was surrounded. I saw that on Instagram, and I love that. It looks like people are actually using the internet for good stuff. So, all these activists had surrounded his house off rip, and then, somebody had put on Instagram how, he had called like DoorDash or Grubhub a couple times trying to get some food. Said the people come there with the food, they see who they were delivering it to, they turn around, didn't want to deliver the food no more. And I was like, I hear that, and that's what needs to happen. You know what I'm saying? That's what needs to happen. It's hard. A lot of times the people cannot get justice from our elected officials. We can't get justice from our police. So we have to go through our own means to get our own justice. That right there is justice. And I'll put out a call to anybody. Excuse me. I'll put out a call to anybody. Really, a lot of these black gang members. I'll put out calls to y'all. Anytime there's a Trayvon Martin situation, that officer's or that person's house needs to be surrounded. And I'm not calling for violence or anything like that, but they need to be surrounded. I need a bunch of my hardcore G's out here to go right to their doors and sit there and be in their yard and be a presence, because that's the only way that we're going to get any type of justice around here. So that's what needs to happen. But I see the people using the internet and finding people's addresses and stuff and putting people on blast when they say things on the internet. People are getting called on it a lot more, and I'm not one to agree with cancel culture, but some things do need to be canceled. Moving on. I said his house was surrounded. Blew me away. Now I want to talk about the protest. The protests were amazing. There were protests in downtown Columbus. The Amish community was represented in downtown Columbus. That blew me away. I have never in my life seen Amish people come out for anything. They usually keep to themselves and really don't have much to say about social issues and stuff, as I've seen. But guess what? They were there. They had signs up. They were there in peaceful protest. They were saying there were protests all over the world. They said there was protests in South Africa. People told me how they saw protests in Sicily. People saying that they stand with George Floyd and his family at this time. That's heartwarming. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole world seeing really that they see what's going on here in America, and they got a problem with it. Now, believe it or not, a lot of the world has had a problem with the way that Black America is treated in America. You know what I'm saying? Or blacks are treated in America. But a lot of people may not tell you that. But there's a lot, and if you look at the UN and stuff, there's been times, or plenty of nations have said, hey, America, y'all go around talking about human rights violations, but what about what y'all do to y'all's black people in y'all's country? There's been plenty of other countries that have held us to task for that. But it was good to see the solidarity. Most people who are of sober thought saw that video, and they were shook, and understood that they witnessed a murder. They witnessed a 8-9 minute murder right there on Facebook, and it touched everybody almost, predominantly most of the people in the same way. So that was good. That was heartwarming to see that. Sees that that gave me faith in humanity once again. It was crazy because there was pics of the White House that had graffiti on. They put graffiti on the White House, and then they were talking about how there was a protest across the street from the White House, And so they locked down the White House. They, battened down the hatches. They closed all, shut off all the windows, closed all the doors and all that. And they said the president was like cowering in a room, protest across the street from the White House. But then they talked about how Joe Biden went out to a protest to listen to some people. And then people were like, well, he went out after the protest was over. Where I feel that. How about this? I would love Trump to come out even right now and say something that added to this or wasn't, something that didn't glorify himself or make it about him. If he had anything that was that just reaffirmed that he was a human being, but he doesn't have any of that. So I take it right now. We took it after the protest. I take it right now. I'll take it whenever. So moving on. But that's something, though. That tells you something about those two guys. One went out and talked to protesters. The other guy's cowering in his room when they're across the street protesting. It blew me away that I saw white protesters in Kentucky. In Kentucky. Kentucky is not a liberal state. White protesters in Kentucky protecting black protesters. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we need. That is what we need. We need good white folk to step up. Step up and use their privilege, man. And that was good. I mean, it was just a row of like soccer moms and older white women and some young white guys, and they were just making a barrier between the black protesters and the police. That's why I call working together. That's what needs to happen in this country. Blew me away too. Taylor Swift. Now this happened a little while ago. Taylor Swift gonna come out. She says that the president is stoking the fires of white supremacy. Taylor Swift. Let me tell you something. Taylor Swift, sure, she got more followers than Jesus, and probably almost as much money as him. But let me tell you something. I still gotta take my hat off to her. This young woman does not have to say that. Because really, does racism affect her? Not in the least bit. Not in the least bit. She doesn't have any friends who are being affected by race, unless she has friends of color, and I don't want to go putting that on Taylor Swift, saying that she ain't got no friends of color. I don't know that. Maybe she does. Maybe that's where this is coming from. But my point is, she's a white woman. She didn't have to say anything. She didn't have to say anything. But she stepped outside herself, and she went ahead and put it out there, man. She said President Trump is stoking the fires of white supremacy. Well, there it is. I'm like, well, I know that. Nobody had to tell you that, but I'm glad that she, went ahead and said it, so that her followers could hear, people who dig her can hear and know where she stands, as far as it's concerning our president. Moving on, there's a young woman by the name of Tamika Mallory. She impressed the socks off your boy here, just the socks off me. I was just, oh my goodness, this woman is dynamic. She gave a speech. I don't know if the title of it is "We Learn From You," but she said that in the speech. She said, "We learn from you." I guess this young lady worked with Al Sharpton, and she worked in the National Action Network. That's his civil rights network. So you already know she coming with the fire. And man, I tell you, that speech is amazing. And she said it best: "We learned it from you." Come on now. I'm like, who went and got who from their continent, brought them here to do work for them, and then beat them to do the work, and never paid them for the work? I mean, come on. I say that to people all the time. I'm like, well, where are the pictures of black people having a picnic with their kids and smiling and laughing while white bodies hang from trees in the background? Yeah, you never seen that picture? Me neither, because it doesn't exist. So come on now. So she said it best. We learned it from you. She said, you want the rioting and looting and the hurting and destruction of property to stop? Y'all gotta stop it first. Y'all the ones we learned it from. And that's true, because I went on record in this show. I talked about it a couple shows ago. Black people, we come from a spiritual and an agrarian culture. That means in Africa, there was two types really there's many different tribes, many different languages, but there's only two types of people in Africa. People who were praying to whatever God they believed in, and people who were like tilling soil and learning how to feed people and be nutritious and stuff like that. No warriors, no fighters. Because that wasn't us. We're not savage. We never have been savage. A lot of us try to pretend to be savage, and we're bad at it, and you see what happens to us because we're out of character. I've told a lot of my boys that you out of character. You out here on the block holding heat, hurting people, period. You out of character, bruh. This the character they put on you. So you picked it up and you roll with it, and you try to do it good. But let me tell you something, man. That's not us. We're not that. We've never been animals. We've never been savage. We've been savaged, but we've never been savage. Anyway, moving on. But no, that's amazing. You got to see that speech, and she really lays it out there. They talked about provocateurs or fake protesters, people trying to besmirch the movement. They were saying that some of them are white nationalists. Then, of course, if you watch Fox News, and sometimes I do because I like to consume it all, good and bad and other, whatever you got, left, right, middle, all of that. You go in there and they would say it's Antifa groups. Antifa groups. And I guess Antifa groups, they're saying that's Antifa is like basically some rich white liberal kids, or the kids of rich white liberals who are very violent and do all this stuff, you know, just in the name of causes on the left. Okay, I believe that's a real thing. I know that's a real thing. You know what I'm saying? That's an organization that exists. Fine. Okay, but I don't believe that their activities are as commonplace as some of these individuals on the right. And I mean, we've seen it time and time again. We know that these right-wing organizations are hell-bent on starting race wars. They'll use anything they can to start a race war. They're using this as the catalyst to do that because they're hell-bent on that. They want that. So it's like, come on, don't give me that. You know, don't tell me that, you know, some of these provocateurs and some of these people who dropped out the sky or whatever, who had no interest in George Floyd or cared anything about his death or brutality from the police enforced on black people. They're just people who found it a good time to go riot or good time to be able to do something, and it'll get blamed on black people anyway. And I was watching some videos and stuff on Instagram, and the one young lady was showing a guy just, and I'm sure you've seen the video too, you know, maybe, of some, there's two I seen. I seen one where the guy was like busting up windows in an AutoZone, and then I seen another, and they were like, why are you doing this? And then he followed him with the camera on it, and he got to the point where he was swiping at the camera and stuff, because like, they was like, who are you? What are you doing? And why are you doing that? Then I saw another one where they were like some young white ladies who were spray painting Black Lives Matter on a building, and then, you know, the sister was like, hey, what are you doing? Don't do that. And then they kind of turned around with attitudes like, oh, we're doing this for you. And then she's like, well, we didn't ask you to do that, and we don't need that. And you do that, and they blame it on us. So please don't do that. Don't do that. You know, and they kind of walked away. And I don't know if that was misinformation, because I'm going to tell you, and I've been telling people, yes, there are provocateurs, and some of them are white nationalists, some of them are Antifa, and there's definitely some people are opportunists. People like, hey, there's a riot downtown. Why? Who knows? But I wanted some Jordans. That happens. Plenty of that going on. Plenty of that going on. But I also think it's because people don't necessarily know how to protest anymore. Because all the people who are teachers who are showing us how to protest and who showed us how to protest have been killed. You know? So think about that. You know what I'm saying? Dr. King, he wrote the blueprint on it. You know, there's other people around the world who have protested in a peaceful manner. But there's a lot of people who don't even know how to protest. So a piece of me thinks there were some people who had good intentions. They went down there, they're upset about something. They're probably upset about being at home. They're probably upset about not having a job. They're upset about not having no money and not having no help from their government. So they're upset about that. And they went out there and they were like, I'm going to get this anger out. I want to protest. I'm going to tear something up. That's not protest. That's a riot. A riot is mayhem. That is not a protest. A protest is, you know what I'm saying, is organized, it is planned, it is peaceful. People are not supposed to get hurt. People are supposed to get arrested, you know, because you're disrupting, and that's what it is. You want to get arrested, you want to cause, you want to bring attention to whatever thing that you're protesting against or whatnot, or for. But it's not supposed to be violent. And a lot of people just plain don't know that. Believe it or not, they just plain don't know that. So there's that. Moving on from there, there was press from CNN who got arrested. The press got arrested. We've all seen the videos. The one brother from CNN, I don't even know who he is. I don't know if I've ever seen him before, ever. And I watch a whole lot of news. But anyway, he was a correspondent. He out there, he talking, and did not know where they arrested him. Somebody was telling me somebody else from the news got arrested. Are you surprised? We can't be surprised. We have a president who runs around and tells people that the press is the enemy of the people. You're surprised when the police are arresting the press when, let me say it again, we have a president who tells people that the press is the enemy of the people. So how can you be surprised when the police are arresting the press? That did not surprise me. Luckily, we have Instagram, and I gotta just give it to Instagram, Twitter too. But Twitter and Instagram, you have a lot of this news. You don't necessarily even have to get it from CNN on that. Like I said, I was following some of these young cats are on the ground. I mean, they're right there while the pipe bombs is going off and the police is shooting people with rubber bullets and all. They right there with their phone running like, oh yeah, right now it's going down. And you can see that. Hey, you know what that is? That's activism, but that's reporting. We have some hood reporters on the ground right now, and they showed me a lot. And I'll tell you what, that's a story that you can trust because you're seeing it in real time. Moving on, I'm going to talk about some bad behavior from the police, but I'm going to talk about some good behavior from the police, because there's always two sides to that coin. Let's go through that. Police throwing white power signs. Dang. Yeah, I seen that on Instagram and was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? It was pretty brazen. It was interesting because the white power sign that the guy threw, the first time I saw that, I was a teenager in North Carolina. I might have been like 18 or something. And a lot of my mom's family's from North Carolina. He's in North Carolina. I was in the South. Peace out to my family in the South. Cousin Don, TJ. My cousin TJ, I was kicking it with him. And he was showing me his yearbook. And he was showing me the symbol that some of the white cats was throwing up. And I said, what is that? Now I know that's a white power symbol. I know that now. But back then I was like, well, what is that? And he said, yeah, man, these guys are down with the KKK. They're racist. He said, it's a white power symbol, man. They're racist. And I was like, wow, because I never seen nothing like that. Lo and behold, here I am, 43, about to be 44. Here's a cop right out there on Instagram. He threw it up. And then it looked like his boy kind of smirked, like, yeah, like, let him know. So come on, man. Come on. We know that the police have been infiltrated by white supremacist groups. We know that. We know that they put out a call to their brethren to get in law enforcement. We know that. So why is nobody in law enforcement trying to weed that out? Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. So there was that. I seen a police pepper spraying. Well, I didn't see it. I heard about it. I gotta be honest about that. I didn't see it, but I heard about it from a close personal friend of mine. She watches the show. Hey, how you doing, Miss Lady? She told me about police pepper spraying the clergy. Said she was in an area. She said it was 5 ministers. I think one of them's a friend of hers. She said they came, and this was in downtown Columbus, peacefully protesting. They got pepper sprayed in broad daylight. You pepper spray ministers in robes. You pepper spray the clergy. Come on, man. That ain't right. That ain't right. That is not right, police, and y'all know that. Come on now. Columbus PD, y'all know better than that. Shooting people with rubber bullets. I had seen some people caught rubber bullets in the face and had blood coming from their face. Then I saw a picture of one woman who they said got caught with a rubber bullet in the face, but then somebody else, this was on Sean King's page, and then they were saying that woman hit a brick wall or something, or fell on the concrete, and that's where that came from. Then some people were saying it was fake. I don't know. Either way, I'm like, it looked like the woman was hurt, and that's ridiculous. How did that happen? It's supposed to be peaceful protesting. So there it is. Police putting tape over their badges. Heard about that. That is not cool. And why you gotta put tape over your badge if you're not doing anything that's not wrong? The only time you put tape over your badge number or your name is when you're gonna be doing something that you know is out of line with being a police officer. Because you putting that tape over that badge number, that's you saying, I'm gonna go ahead and step outside of being a cop for a minute. Even though I'm wearing this badge and this uniform, I'm gonna put this tape over here so I'm not a cop anymore. Because I'm about to do some stuff that a cop should never do, that a cop should be disgraced for doing. So I'm gonna step out of that real quick. See what I'm saying? That's ridiculous, man. You ain't no kind of police officer for doing that. So that's ridiculous. Some good stuff though. I saw police taking a knee. How about that? I saw a bunch of police say they took a knee like Kaepernick. What? Saying that, yeah, this police violence does have to stop. I saw a lot of police marching with protesters. I saw some police marching with protesters and letting protesters know, hey, we're here with you. We are one with you. What happened is wrong. We need justice. We're here peaceably protesting with you. We feel your pain and we're here for you. Come on now. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? I saw police going on Instagram, yelling to the top of their lungs how they were mad about the situation, how they were mad at the video they saw, how they were mad that one of their brethren, one of their police who usually throws themselves in harm's way would hurt a civilian like that. Some of these was white guys, some was brothers, but a lot of white guys. These was cops, and they said, hey, they were mad. They were yelling, they were spitting, they were emotional. I believe them. You know what I'm saying? So I saw that from the police, and I like to see that. I like to see a lot of those guys stand up, though. Because it's crazy. Whenever there's bad cops, other cops know these cops are bad. So they need to stand up and say something. Say something about it, Give people a heads up. You know what I'm saying? Give people a heads up. If you know these guys are racist, if you know these guys are bad, tell somebody. Try and do it in confidence, but if you can't, man, just come on out there and say what it is, because you're probably saving a life. So there's that. But there was a lot of that going on, and I was glad to see it. Glad to see that. What was different about this situation? I was asking myself, because we've seen snuff films on Facebook before. This ain't the first time you've seen a brother get killed on Facebook. I think Philando Castile, I hope I'm getting that name right. That brother, he got killed, I think right in front of his fiance and her child in the backseat. We saw that play out in real life on Facebook. Sandra Bland, we saw the stuff that went on with her, but she didn't actually get killed on camera. She probably did, but we haven't seen the footage anyway. Eric Garner, we saw him You know, everybody heard him, you know, say I can't breathe like 11, 12 times. There were songs made about it. I still think the guy who, or I think the guy who took the video is still in jail for it now. But we saw that, saw it with our own eyes on Facebook, and there was an outcry, and there was outrage or whatever. But you know, it went away, and it wasn't this big. What was so different about this time? Because like you know, to use the vernacular of the day, this one hit different. Like the kids say, sometimes it hit. This one hit different. Why did it hit different though? And I thought about it. Walk with me. I think it hit it one, Corona. The coronavirus got everybody on one because everybody's stuck in the house. Can't go out unless you're an essential worker like me, but that's another story. But anyway, everybody's stuck in the house. Can't go out. So people are doing what? Watching TV. They're watching the internet. So everybody, even plenty of people who would have been consumed with work in their regular lives, saw it. Couldn't help but see it. So there's that going on. Like I said, everybody's at home. And then people are broke. There's still a lot of people who have not gotten that money. There's still a lot of people who, for whatever reason, won't get that money. And they've lost their job, they've lost their livelihood. What are they going to do? So they were upset about that. So a lot of them came out and were protesting, you know, because they were mad about what happened to George, but they're also mad about that stuff going on too, and they want some answers. And then it was interesting this time, there was a whole lot of white outrage. And you know what, a lot of people probably think that I say that, and I'm saying that in a flippant manner, or I'm saying that to belittle that, and I'm not. I actually want to thank white people for their outrage. I was wondering when it was going to happen. Like I said, I just named all these other black people that had died on camera. We watched it. And there's a bunch of others whose names I can't remember and whose names I try to forget. I take that back. I don't ever want to forget. And I always want to feel horrible whenever I hear their name and hear their story. So there's that, because I owe them that. They're dead. I can at least hear their story and feel at least a little bit of their pain and just a little bit of their family's pain. So I take that back. I never want to forget any of these brothers and sisters. But my point is, we've seen a lot of them. I like the fact now that I'm hearing white people say, look, that was wrong. We watched a man get murdered. When you see white people in high places saying that, you're going to see some things happen. And you see some things happen. I guarantee you, well, A, had there been no video, but B, if there wasn't all this white outrage, this guy wouldn't even be charged right now. How many times in the black community has something like this happened and they just sat on their hands and didn't charge anybody with anything? Come on now. All the time. And right now there's a push for those other 3 officers to be charged as well. Don't stop the push, because we will get them too. The same way we got the one guy, and you know his name, I don't even want to say his name, because I don't want to give him any respect like that. I don't want to give him nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because he took my brother. He took George. So I give him nothing. But that dude, you know what I'm saying? The same way that he got charges on him now, the same way that his family wasn't able to get a meal because protesters was around his house, we can do that with these other 3 dudes. Let's get on it. Let's get on it. When people get galvanized, when the people get upset and say we've had enough and we can't take it no more, we can do things like this. And we've brought that man to justice. Sean King and some other people out there, they brought this guy to justice. Black Twitter brought this guy to justice. We can bring them other 3 to justice too and get this thing cracking. You know, so like I said, but I want to thank white people for your outrage, because a lot of that white outrage. I've seen a lot of white women, a lot of white men who are upset, who are mad about this, who are mad at the current administration, who are mad at his lack of empathy, who are mad about him making comments about when the looting starts, the shooting starts. I've seen a lot of white people who are mad and who are upset and who said, I'm one with you. I had a lot of my white friends call me and say, Ed, I don't like what's going on. I want you to know, for one, I ain't feeling it. Well, duh, that's why we're friends. I already know you ain't on that. If you was, we wouldn't be friends. But I thank you for that, and I love that. You know what I'm saying? And that's what needs to happen. You know, we need other people, white people, to feel our pain, because we talk about it ad nauseum, and you know, it falls on deaf ears sometimes. It feels like okay. Enough of that. Now let me get to what I want to talk about, and I got a lot. I'm running out of time, so let me deal with stuff I want to talk about. Politics, urban politics is the name of the show. Let's get into the politics. Number one, over 100,000 Americans have died from the coronavirus. Our president feels like it's a good time to play golf. Okay, look. The only reason I bring that up, because it wouldn't be a big deal that the president's playing golf. We want our president relaxed or whatever. But he went in on Obama for playing golf, and they said that he's already played more golf right now than Obama even played his whole 8 years. And the fact that he would bring it up and try to say all this stuff about how, really trying to allude to him being lazy, an old school racist trope that didn't stick, because Obama was anything but lazy if he was president right now. I wouldn't even be talking about coronavirus. But anyway, not because he's black and a liberal, but because we wouldn't all be sequestered in our homes, because he would have kept the pandemic force going like he was supposed to. But anyway, what I'm saying is, our president decides it's a good time to play golf. Optics of that are horrible. You could have played golf at any time. Why would you do it now? I guess this whole thing is he wants this push for everybody to get back to work, wants the economy to open back up. I hear that, because from a political standpoint, his political aspirations are kind of going into issue, because Joe Biden is stepping up. He's getting to look all presidential right now with this pandemic's going on. He's getting to be on the internet saying little things, wearing his mask, looking like he's not an idiot who doesn't believe in what doctors tell him. So that's hurting Trump. His economy, he was going to tout that. He's probably going to ride that right into another win in 2020. I hate to say that, and Lord knows I'd have been fighting against it with this show in any other way I could, but it is what it is. He probably was going to do that, but now with the economy tanking, with this virus killing Americans by the truckloads, he's probably not, and even Republicans have woke up to that, he's probably not going to win, so he's salty about that. But the country is poised to open up June 1st. Today is June 1st. So the country's poised to open today. There you go. So, but yesterday I was out and I seen a few people out or whatever. So things are trying to get back to normal. I'm not sure if that's the best thing, but a lot of these governors are pushing for it. I understand that. I understand where that's coming from, because the economy is in the toilet, man, and it's hard to run a state without money. You can't run a state without money. So if your state isn't generating any money or doing anything, it hurts things. So there's that. It was crazy. Joe Biden, like I said, been wearing his mask, still looking presidential. Having the right words to say after a crisis. Everything he said lately has been pitch perfect, because he knows how to do. He's lived through these crises before and been a vice president during crisis like this. Nancy Pelosi called the president morbidly obese. That was hilarious. That was funny. I couldn't believe that she went there. That was interesting. But it is what it is, and he is that. So moving on. Trump's campaign slogan. Get a load of this. His campaign slogan is transition to greatness. That's horrible. Transition to greatness? That's funny. I know a lot of y'all thought it was when the looting starts, the shooting starts. That ain't gonna be how that's to it. He might have used that, but I think the Miami police chief in 1967, the racist Miami police chief who used it, probably has a copyright on it. But that's his slogan: transition to greatness. How lame is that? They even said that. There's like, in the article I read talking about it, it's like, transition to greatness? You can't get excited about a transition. And literally, what is a transition? A moving over to greatness? That's ridiculous. What was this? Make America Great Again. A better slogan than that probably would have even been a return to greatness, which would have been still lame, saying that, no, you haven't made America great yet, what you waiting on. But still, this transition to greatness, that falls pretty flat. So we'll see how far he gets with that. I think it sucks. People going on about Trump killing the GOP. I think the real murderer of the GOP, sticking that knife right in the back of the GOP, Mitch McConnell. Y'all already know my pet name for him is McConnell. But he says states should go bankrupt. Republicans do not want to give any more money. They don't want to give any more stimulus, especially him. What they're afraid of is inventing another entitlement program. What I mean by that is entitlement programs are things like Medicare, Medicaid, programs from the government that actually help American citizens. They're afraid of creating another program that does that. Wrap your mind around that. But entitlements cost the government money. They always bellyache and claiming they ain't got it. So, they don't want to do that. So, they already gave people the little stimulus that they gave us all or whatever, or haven't given all of us. But Mitch McConnell feels like that's enough. He doesn't want to do it, and he was saying even if he does do it, there has to be a provision in there for these companies, for people to not be able to sue them when they go back to work too early, get corona, and die. Ain't that something? That's Mitch McConnell. My thing is, Mitch McConnell's old. He's been in the Senate forever. He's probably going to retire. I think in a minute here he's going to go ahead and be done with it, because he'll probably lose to an upcoming challenger, because he's done a lot of madness. But really, that's his whole thing. I think he's getting ready to go out, so he just wants to, go out in a blaze of glory, And in his mind, he's just going to pass as much horrible legislation or legislation that benefits him and makes him a millionaire as he can, and he's just going to go on and get out of there. Because that's what all these guys do, and that's kind of the name of the game. You know what I'm saying? It's just to make all the money you can, especially when you're at the end of your career and you're unpopular anyway. He's just going to make all the money he can, take care of him and his friends, and then he's going to bounce. And that'll be it. And we'll be talking about some other jerk who will be the minority whip in the Senate. So whoever his predecessor is. Let's hope he's better than Mitch. There it is in a nutshell, urban politics. I've taken about 30 minutes of your time. If you enjoyed this, please, like I said, share it with your friends and family and your co-workers and all of that. I am Phys Ed Music. I want to thank everybody for their support. I try to do this, whenever I can, but I work full time just like you. So remember, what I'm saying, stay safe. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Let's try and be. Let's all us humans. Let's try and be a little more humane towards one another. And always remember, never lose your sense of humor. You got to laugh to keep from crying. With that said, urban politics. See you around like a donut.